So, chapter 137 of One Punch Man Resonance. Well, this chapter was what I would call a blast. Get it? Because he's in the chapter, and I'm going to keep making these jokes consistently until someone tells me to stop. And you can't tell me to stop unless you spell it correctly, which is stop. And I need that stop. If not, I'm going to keep making those jokes every time Blast shows up in a chapter. Unfortunately, you have to put up with this, and it sucks to be you. Wow, Matt. Thank you for watching. Aren't you the gracious host? This chapter is what I would call a peak chapter of One Punch Man. I know I like every chapter of One Punch Man, but this chapter is what I feel is like what culminates in a great chapter of One Punch Man, because it does, well, personally, I think the best chapter ever of One Punch Man is chapter 84, Escalation. So that is everything from when, obviously, just if you don't, to when Bang and Goro fights, and then obviously it turns into the fight against Elder Centipede, because it includes pretty much everything I think that makes One Punch Man great. It includes action, it includes comedy, it includes character moments, backstory, it's interesting, it's fun to watch, it's got beautiful art. This is like another chapter of those, you know? Except, I'd say, I don't really think there wasn't much comedy in this chapter. No, there wasn't even comedy in this chapter, really. But it felt like everything else. That's probably the only thing it lacks on. He's probably... If Saitama was in this chapter and did something good too, then this would be another perfect chapter of One Punch Man. I couldn't deny that. And in fact, I'd probably give it bonus points over Escalation for doing it in a smaller window. But I think this chapter is an absolutely fantastic one. Truly, it just culminates everything that makes One Punch Man really good. Except for the comedy, but I made that point. So, chapter starts off with an amazing cover of Bang, Bomb, Fubuki, and I love it when they get classed up. Bang looks so good in his other cover when he's wearing his suit and he looks dope. And I love Fubuki in this. She looks amazing. She looks stunning. And you got Bang and Bomb, especially Bomb in the back with a cigar, just chilling. I love it. It's so cool. Any excuse to get these characters in different outfits tends to be quite good, to be honest, and they tend to look pretty sick. So especially these three. These three have got class. So it works for them in particular. But thankfully, we've focused on them. It's like, oh man, what Bang, Bomb, Fubuki are up to? They're here! And Bang's got a smile, like, oh, whoa, what's going on? Glad I joined in on this conversation. And then obviously more of the gang are all gathering together. So I think that's all the heroes that are going to get involved, apart from Metal Bat together now. So Metal Bat, yeah, everyone else is pretty much aware of each other. Metal Bat is just the only guy we're missing, so I imagine he's going to come in for that save. Atomic Samurai, obviously quite happy to see Bang. You're like, well, hang on, Child Emperor, why wasn't he invited to the raid in the first place? And then Bang, to be fair, handles this very diplomatically and well. He could have been like, why didn't you invite me? But he's an old man. He's taught many students. He's probably pretty good with kids, to be honest, as well. So he's like, listen, man, I get why you did this, you know. From a purely military perspective, yeah, of course, I've got connections to Garo. You don't want to have any loose ends on this, but I'm actually grateful for you not actually inviting me, because I can be here not as a hero, but I can be here on my own. Not being here because I have to be, but I'm here because I want to be. I want to be the one to put Garo to rest with my own two hands. And I think more than anything with that, I can't see Bang actually defeating Garo, not even in the sense of storytelling. I know Saitama's going to probably be the one to beat Garo, or Saitama will be, let's face it. But I think just because of his connections, I don't think he'll have it in him to actually take down Garo. Even after this, it's difficult. It's like if he's his number one student, he cares for him, and I get his responsibility to do this. He really wants to stop him, but I don't know if he can, stop him. And Child Emperor at this point is pretty upset too. Well, he's not upset, he looks concerned and nervous and disappointed, really, because, understandably so, because he's made the wrong call a couple times. Now, first of all, when the heroes need them to get together, I don't know whether he feels he's feeling insecure about himself, mostly because first of all, his call on Bang and Genos was both wrong. We knew it would be wrong in any case, because we know we could trust these guys, but now Child Emperor's having to realise his errors, because these two are like, hey, I'm here to help, we'll do what we can. And he's questioning probably his own judgment at this point, because, he was kind of entrusted by the Hero Association to make sure it all runs smoothly, and, maybe things could have gone smoother if he trusted in them too. Understandably, I get why his concerns were there, I think I remember, but at the same time, it's difficult for Child Emperor. Maybe he can have some confidence issues in the next few chapters, and I'm fine if someone else speaks to him about Maybe Zombie Man, you know, obviously he respects Zombie Man a lot in particular, he likes Zombie Man in particular, I think this shit's been established, but something for Child Emperor to be concerned about, or like, go into the future, where I think he'll remember this, you know, he's like, you know, I was wrong about these two, so I've got to make sure I'm better at this, and honestly, he's a child, you know, he's got room to, of course, literally by his age, he has got room to develop and grow, so he'll be fine. This is just a small mistake, and obviously Child Emperor's proven himself countless times. I feel like also maybe he's feeling like this because he's a bit helpless at this point, because he's used all of his technology already. He's used Brave Giant, he's used his trump card, and now when the fight really matters, like, you know, they've got him on the final ropes, he might not feel like he can do anything, when, of course, like, his mind is going to be so valuable to this. When some of these are just absolute meatheads, he can analyse and come up with counters for them using their abilities. Yeah. And then, of course, with Fubuki there, she then clears up for us that, you know, Tatsumaki is on her last leg. She's losing consciousness. And then we go up to her, like, she is actually, like, white in the eyes. We can't see what's going on with her. But to be fair to her, at the same time, she is still holding this barrier up, you know, even unconscious, you know, Psychos can't escape. Drive Knight's still getting her pinned down, and she's, like, crashing against the barrier, and she makes the decision to go up and save, she goes to the decision, like, if I can get rid of Tatsumaki, I can do this. Fires a few missiles. Drive Knight, to be fair, changes to Rook. Is it Rook or Bishop? I need to find out. I think Bishop is this form. I think Rook's his actual flying mode. His travel mode and his Rook mode. Yeah. I think Rook is the bike and the jet. I think he's got flying Rook and just regular Rook. Goes to, doesn't manage to block them all. All of a sudden there's a big old beam. This is what's so good about Genos. Like, he's at the point now where you just don't expect him to show up and do stuff. But he does. And, like, the panel is amazing of him, like, over her, like, protecting her with the beams. It's so cool. But you're like, Genos, what are you doing, mate? I think especially because we know his 10 seconds of full power are up, you know, like, we see, like, how hot his hands and his core are, like, they're melting. But he's still going with everything he can do. Like, his hero name, Demon Cyborg, really sticks up for what it is now, because it works. Like, because he's just this guy who constantly goes after a villain, like, and monsters. He stops them. He hits them with brutal force, goes after them with everything he's got. Demon Cyborg, he just does not give up, and his name is worth his hero title. Never really liked his hero title. I'm not like a big fan. I think when I was talking with the guys on the podcast, there could be a different name for him, but I think they won't change his name. It's like, you know, you wouldn't change Superman's name to Superman to, like, maybe like the Man of Krypton or something, because of, like, you know more about him. That's Superman, or, like, what was it in the film? He stands for Hope, so you might call him, like, Hope Man or something. You still call him Superman. It's just, it's a name that sticks with him. Like, it's fine, but it's not a problem. But then we get, of course, to the main old chunk of the chapter, which is the Tats flashback. Now, this takes place 18 years ago, so in a timeline sense. So Tatsumaki's 10, Saitama is 7, and Fubuki is 5. This is also our first time we actually see a monster, I guess, in the timeline. So, because monsters became common knowledge to the public about the time Saitama was 12 or 13. He was young. So, about 5-6 years after this, monsters became public. And from what we can tell from this flashback, first of all, is it's crazy how much of a different person Tatsumaki is. Like, I mean, it's very clear how much this impacted her, this whole thing, because of how she is as a person, at least as a kid. She isn't the same. Obviously, kids aren't the same as they are when adults aren't the same as they are when they're kids, but it is interesting to see how she goes from, you know, how she is today to how she is here, where she's, like, very meek and quiet, and she's trying to survive, and she does this by basically faking that her power is not there by suppressing it. You know, I guess she's denying who she is at that point to try and stay safe, which I get, it's fine. So obviously a monster breaks free, and from what we can tell from this as well, you know, this group, whoever they are, who were researching monsters, aren't a good group, because at the very least they're not moral. Mostly because they left a 10-year-old to die. The director was like, "Oh no, she's useless. Get the important subjects out of here. Leave her because she was useless. So we left a 10-year-old girl to die." So I would not be surprised if this group comes up again in the future. Maybe Organization, possibly. No, not Hero Association. Hero Association only formed from that, but from Saitama. So, but it'll be interesting to see who else this could be, especially because of the cube. So Tatsumaki, this is our first time we see a monster. It's big, knocks Tatsumaki back. She's just given up. Tatsumaki, Mrs. like, you know, she's constantly carrying everything, is just given up on life, and she's ready to accept it. And then we cut away to sound effects, which I'm gonna guess is like bang, boom, pow, like boof. Cut to it, and we again get to see what has happened, because you can come out now, and it's Blast. Blast is here. Okay, Blast. Blast, 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 blast. I did not expect to see you again so soon. Yes, this really caught me off guard, that Blast is not only involved in a My Mask's past, but is also involved in Tatsumaki's past. So he looks quite young here from what we can see. They actually haven't had a clear shot of his face because they want to build up suspense for that, but it's interesting, you know. So this is what I mean by One Punch Man just being very good in the sense of it makes me want to learn everything about a character. There's so many questions this chapter brings up. First of all, when Blast saves him, he's like, "Hi, my name is Blast. I work as a hero." Well, this isn't my job. This is more of a hobby. He's like Saitama, okay? He's a hero for fun, at the very least, right? Like, he does it because I'm guessing he enjoys it, so we don't know what his other job is. It could be something like, I don't know, because maybe he's got other responsibilities. Like, Saitama does it as a hero for fun, but it's like the only thing he does. Whereas Blast is, I guess, maybe like he does other stuff too. I guess the main question is, when he says, like, you know, I do this is more of a hobby, he's holding a cube. The cube. What is the cube? The cube. We don't have any clue. So, I think the biggest thing that everyone thinks, and I have to agree at this point, is it's got something to do with Drive Night, because like that's the tactical transformation gear is made up of cubes. We've seen this, like we've seen him carry obviously like the big case, and it morphs into different things. So we're all very interested, of course, how this is all going to go. I'm not 100% on what's going to happen here. Like, if I had to guess, so it's a group who are researching, I guess, they're researching psychics, they're researching monsters, they are, if it is, then they're researching technology as well. So whoever this group is, they are researching a lot of different factors to do with power. Like, you know, it's not like, as far as I can tell, they're not researching people for like medical purposes or like environmental purposes. They seem to be, if I had to guess, if you've got a monster there on the rampage, you've got Tatsumaki there on the rampage, and we've also had hints, of course, that like, now here's the question, there's so many questions, because if this is a old organisation as well, now it's coming to the top of my head, maybe that's the reason one of the Hero Association is pretty corrupt, is because that's like, maybe they're like a parent organisation, because I know Goni is like the main founder of it after Saitama saved his grandson, but maybe they're like, oh, we'll invest here too, and then maybe like people are puppets there, and oh gosh, this is so conspiracy. But obviously I want to know more about Blast, because he seems to be very much like Saitama, but he's also got a cube with him as well. Which is obviously a very big question. So I couldn't do anything. It's like, it's not nice to lie. I know you've got power. There's no point in suppressing it just because you think they'd let you go, and then we'll learn as to why Tatsumaki hasn't done anything so far is because she wants to go home, and then we see her break down. And she goes, well, I can't go anywhere because my mama and papa sold me off. And that, I think it hits more because Tatsumaki is so strong, so good, like not good will, like she's got such strong will, strong power, like there's so much about her, she's so confident in who she is and what she can do. It seems so weird, even as a child, to see her cry, to see her break down in tears, and it hits. I look at it and it's sad. I don't like it. And also I think we know, because it's even worse, I think, because we know that Fubuki's there as well, right? So from this is my guess on what happened, is obviously, you know, she's a young girl, she develops these powers, probably her parents are scared of her, they get Fubuki and they're like, well, do we need her anymore? Like, we've got a regular child and we've got this freaky child, let's get rid of the freaky child. And maybe there'll be more to it, maybe we'll learn why they sold her off, maybe like this, whoever got it, full conspiracy, I think it's the organisation. If they tricked her, Eventually they found it was like, oh no, we can help her control it, or we can help get rid of them. And then maybe in a way they kidnapped her, and maybe like and maybe that's what they told her, like, oh no, your mum and dad sold you to us. Maybe it wasn't like that, we don't know. We have to give Tatsumaki and Fubuki's parents a try, because at the very least, we don't really know, well, we don't know what's happened to them, and I don't think they're going to be dead. They're not like super important to the story, but it's interesting to know, even if it was just a small bit of what happened there. Because as a very confusing thing happens next, because Fubuki, as you know, she's like, I have no one left. Blast is the one who goes, well, no, you've got someone left, and then she thinks of, and then either he sees Fubuki when he like pats her on the head, or maybe like Tatsumaki projects Fubuki, like maybe she's thinking of people who she might have, like he's like, well no, of course everyone's got someone to look after, and it might be even, and maybe like, because she can't have full control of her psychic powers, maybe she's like, oh, my little sister Fubuki, and she's like, that's a cute little sister you have, you know, protect your family. And that's very important words, and like, it's clear how much this moment meant to her, because obviously of her actions we've seen in the story. When Fubuki's in trouble, Tatsumaki rushes over no matter what. We've seen this, you know, like, and once again, when he's like, here's a piece of advice, or when, like, someone who's incredibly strong, you know, when the time comes, don't expect someone to come save you. And of course that's a big moment, and that's what Tatsumaki does. That's why she doesn't rely on help. She's like, no, I've got this, I don't need your help. And it's very clear how impactful Blast is being on her life. And we can see, like, from Blast with a Mai, how impactful, like, he was on his life. So there's questions about this, about Blast. There's so many questions, and there's so many things I want to compare to about Saitama. But I think ultimately, one thing I think that we can kind of solidly compare them on, and it's still early, so we don't have a lot, is Saitama and Blast have obviously been parallel to one another because they both wear like the traditional superhero outfit, mostly the cape, the boots, the suit, and Blast, and they have impacts on people. So it's early on, and I say it's early on because of Saitama. Do we judge how they are by what the impact, by the people they've helped? Because the people they've helped are Tatsumaki and, so like, okay, let's take a look. So Blast has helped Tatsumaki and a Mai Mask, right? We know that these two are, like, there's things about them where they're trying to be better heroes. When they think of Blast, they are better heroes. Like, we see very clearly here the impact that Blast has had on Tatsumaki's life, and honestly, all the stuff that Blast has been involved with Tatsumaki is stuff I love about Tatsumaki. Same with a Mai Mask, like, you know, the Photo Blast brought him back to where he is. However, these guys aren't perfect characters. Like, I'm not saying, like, the characters shouldn't be perfect because that's what makes them boring, but what is interesting is, like, they're not, like, the most, like, you've got a Mai Mask who still struggles with, you know, the thoughts of, like, you know, comparing himself to others, and, you know, he was ready to kill people, and he's ready to, like, he believes he's truly better than everyone else. And Tatsumaki's problem is, like, you know, she feels like she's got no one to rely on, no one she can even confide in, as far as I can tell. And I'm hoping, at least with Tatsumaki, her thing, I don't think necessarily, like, the whole idea of her being on her own is wrong. Like, her thinking that, you know, hey, you can't, when push comes to shove, you can't rely on anyone. I don't think that's bad, but that doesn't mean you can't rely on anyone all the time. As we see through this fight, like, Drive Knight and Genos are coming through, and, like, especially Genos and King as well, Genos and King in particular, I hope they're the two that she, like, really takes note, because Genos is obviously backing her up, King's getting them out there, and, like, I'm not saying, like, she has to rely on people, but she learns that people can be relied on. It's not that she has to do absolutely everything on her own. You know, like, this, when it comes to important stuff, of course, focus, yeah, you've got to pull through, but there's also times where people will help, you know? That's what I hope her lesson is that she learns from this. Any case, what I was going to before is, like, you know, there's still some issues with them there. Like, and I'm interested to see, like, especially in particular, I guess, for Tatsumaki, he's overprotecting someone for Fubuki. Like, it's like she doesn't leave, and, like, she's like, oh no, you need to count over people, you can't count over people, that's impossible. And I get that's the lesson she's trying, but it's not like the Blizzard group are a bad bunch. So, what I wanted to compare them to, and the reason I say it's early is because we don't know how these characters are going to turn out, is the people that Saitama has impacted. And the most we can see from these are characters like Glasses and Suiryu. Glasses was someone who was ready to give up being a hero because he felt out of place. He learned from Saitama, like, you know, like, Saitama's a regular guy too. Like, in his essence, he's a regular guy, ignoring the godlike strength and power that he has. You know, he does regular things. He goes grocery shopping, he looks for the deals, and that's something he resonated with. It's like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? Same with Suiryu. Suiryu was someone who looked down on heroes, and it wasn't just And to be fair, it wasn't just Saitama, that was also Snek and Max showing, like, you know, we don't turn our back on civilians, you know, we're heroes. Even if we're outclassed, we show up and save the day. It was those moments where, you know, Saitama, like, showed up and showed him what it was to be a hero that, like, changed Suiryu for hopefully the better. Like, and the reason I've said it was early is because we don't know how Glass is going to turn out as a character in the future. We don't know how Suiryu's going to turn out as a character in the future. But short answer is, I think it's important to see how these two, like, Tatsumaki and Amai, compared to Glasses and Suiryu, and see how these characters have all grown from their impacts with Blast and Saitama, just to kind of judge at least maybe the kind of characters that they are, you know? It's convoluted, but I hope you get what I mean. Any case, that is also a beautiful panel. That is, I love when Tatsumaki, she's bloodied and she's looking down on everyone, the shading's gorgeous. I think that's an amazing panel. She's looking down on the sky, she's looking down on the world. It's beautiful. And then of course Fubuki reaches out to her when she's like, you know, don't expect anyone to come save you. You know, it's Fubuki, it's her sister being like, Tatsumaki, like, sister, like, we see you in trouble, we're gonna help you, just hold on as long as you can. You know, and it's important that she at least recognises that her sister's trying to help her. And then of course, don't underestimate me. And then, as it carries on, we then get to a really cool part. Because we then get to a little chase scene. Like, okay, ultimately, this is a chase scene. And the chase hasn't been like, like this whole like dogfight in the air hasn't been like great. Like, I haven't hated it, but I haven't been like, wow, this is so interesting, this is so amazing, because it's always happened in the background. And then it's like, no. This isn't just a chase scene. This is a One Punch Man chase scene. And it just goes off the rails. How amazing was this chase scene? The angles Murata's doing, like, the past few chapters, I'll be like, oh, I love when Murata does, like, those angles where, like, he's like a camera and you're following it. That's what most of this fight is, and it's so sick. When, like, we're diving down the valley, like, the opened up valley made by, like, CZ Kraken, and then, like, oh my god, just the chase, and, like, you even see, like, how, like, it's, like, angles, right? Because, like, the ground's distorted, but that's because of our field of view. So, like, in particular, it's like when Drive Knight's turning, like, he's turning down, like, following against Psychos, and then, like, you see, like, the very edge of the panel is, like, blurred and curved because that's the field of view that Drive Knight's going through. So obviously it's all like, oh my god, this is amazing, and, like, they go into the tunnel, and, like, they make full use of showing, like, what these guys can do here, thanks to Tatsumaki. So Tatsumaki senses their energy, and even at this point she's like, boom, boom, like, she's doing what she can to stop Psychos, like, with what little power she has left, you know, throwing down rocks. And this is where it's super cool, because this is the difference between the technology and the biology of these two characters, because Psychos has the is a biological creature at heart. So when she, like, splits into two, curves round, she has, like, a leopard mode she turns into, and she, like, dodges and dips and dives, and then, like, blasts off. That's so cool. She also has monster cells where she can, like, shoot, like, as, like, kind of like little sentries while she's focused on flying. They can do the damage for her, and Drive Knight's, like, dodging and dipping. Of course, we get to see Drive Knight be awesome in this chapter too, because, well, first of all, like, when he, like, turns his wings into the big laser, just blasts through. It's so amazing. And, you know, he has that moment as well where I have to give credit to Tatsumaki on this one, because he's like, you know, wow, look at what these monster cells can do. Damn it, Tatsumaki, you monster. If you even held back just a little bit, I could have taken these and analysed them. And here's why I'm thankful for Tatsumaki for that, is because I don't trust Drive Knight a bit. And you have to understand, look, when I think of Drive Knight, the moment that will always stand out to me now is not like his, you know, his cool transformations or anything, but when he's like, you know, oh, don't trust Metal Knight, right? Why? Because he's a bad guy. It's not the greatest reason, and, like, I'm like, okay, you seem incredibly shady now. And despite my natural distrust of Drive Knight, you have to understand, he's so cool. He's so cool though, right? Like, when he's doing the same thing that Psychos is going through, and he, like, turns to the bike, drifts on the wall, smashes through the bishop form, and he's like, right, let's go, boom. And this is what's so amazing about this chase, is, like, the camera angles, it's done in such a great way that, like, there's no foreshadowing or anything. So when, like, they're coming out, and, like, they're coming onto the highway, and then, like, just because the camera's panning, so it's like, and, like, it's that shot reveal of Genos running to the side. He's like, I know you didn't forget about me. Boom! Jumps on the jet. I'm like, you madman Genos. Every time I think you're not going to do every time I don't expect you to show up, you show up and do something incredible. I love Genos so much. He jumps on there. Psychos gets distracted for just a moment. That's enough of a moment, though, for the Drive Knight to come blasting through the skies, overtake, turn to a bishop form, actually protect Genos from the monster cells that are going to do it. And then we end that panel, that beautiful panel of those two chest opening. Let's go, Anarchy and Yisa. Mate, these two are going to destroy her. This has got to be the end of this fight now, because I think they've ended it on such a great note with this fight. Like this chase, it's so beautifully done. It's amazing. Like, the creativity is fully on point. How amazing to remember that, like, you know, this Cyrochi jet is biological, so getting all that crazy stuff, all the crazy transformations of Drive Knight, it's so good. And Genos just time and time again putting in the work. And then it's gonna... Like, I think we're going to cut away to something else, but this is going to be the end of this fight. Like, these two are two S-class heroes, proving their power throughout this chapter, throughout, like, this arc, and they are holding on, close range, no defense. Cyrochi is right there. She's got to go down. She's just got to go down. And so that's, I can't think of a legit way she's going to make out of this. She's weakened as well. This is going to be a powerful attack, and it's going to be beautiful to watch, but... Look, I think this is the sign of, okay, we're ready for this chase to end, but it's a hell of a way to end it. This chase was beautiful. I loved it so much. It's so cool. I've gone back and looked at it, just even the beginning when it's like, let's go. Like, I want to find the perfect soundtrack to listen to from that, because there's a part of me that's, I tried for the One Punch Man soundtrack. Battle's the closest, but it doesn't fully fit. Obviously, thing is Star Wars. You know, like you think of like the battle, like the space fight music in Star Wars, that works. But I'm trying to find the perfect soundtrack for this. If anyone's got any recommendations, I'd love to hear them. But overall, like I said, I said it at the beginning, I'll say it at the end, this is what makes an amazing Chapter 1 Punch Man. It's like, I give it like a 9.5 out of 10, honestly, because it's got the beautiful action, the incredible creativity, the amazing character work that we get to see. You know, introducing new mysteries into the world. The only thing it was lacking on was, of course, our main character Saitama and comedy, but there's enough going on there to support that it's not there. This is a great Chapter 1 Punch Man, and it's always just a pleasure to read chapters like this. It's beautiful. I adored this chapter. I think it's amazing. But I'd also like to hear what you guys think of this chapter, because it's the end of the review now. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it? Especially if you didn't like it, I'd love to hear your reasons why. If you've got legit reasons, it's awesome to hear this kind of stuff, because everyone's different opinions are great. Hey, what's the cue? Any ideas? I don't. Your thoughts on this, your thoughts on Blast, your thoughts on anything in this chapter, I'd love to hear. If you like this review, give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. I'm trying to do these on time now because I'm all caught up now, so the excuses are not there. We'll see how I get on. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you around maybe. Cool. Bye.